We come to Toastmasters to be better orators, better leaders, and better initiators. Speaking and public speaking skills are such an integral part of effective interpersonal communication, aren't they? In fact, trying to effectively communicate without those skills is like trying to jump without bending your knees. You just can't. But oratory skills are a pivotal part of a precarious puzzle. It means there is something else to the puzzle. Sometimes you just need to communicate with yourself, not others. Sometimes you need to kick back, sit on that springy couch, keep your feet up the table, grab a beer in your hand, and rule the world. That is when writing comes in for me. Presiding officer, fellow Toastmasters, and dear guests. I write, but I hardly ever share my writings. In fact, I write and tear the pieces away. More accurately, I type and press backspace until the writing space gets uniformly white. I write for very selfish and personal reasons. I write because I do not understand. I am on street footpath of Baneswar, and I see a bus that probably belongs to the 19th century, worn out and old, going to Bhaktapur with passengers inside, and the passengers are stacked against each other in convoluted positions. They have no space to move. In fact, they are so tightly packed, more tighter than the molecules of their bones, and still the conductor dares to say, "Seat khali, Bhaktapur, Bhaktapur, Bhaktapur." If you want to go to Bhaktapur, we still have seats empty. Even more puzzling is the passenger who comes later, and because he cannot enter inside, he dangles outside the bus like those Ori wires that dangle on electricity poles. I do not understand him, but when I write, I become him. And based on that event, I write about his house, his work, and his hurry to dangle to that bus. Although I may be way wrong about him, I get a little more understanding. I think that I understand him a little bit more. Another reason I write is because I feel too much emotions. Sometimes a lot of pent-up, racked-up, roaring rage rushes inside me, seeking release. Sometimes my emotions scream and whimper to be let out like a little dog tied to a leash all day. A six-year-old girl gets raped. It hits me. It hits me harder than the atom bomb that destroyed Nagasaki. I don't understand that. But that I do not want to understand. I'm morose, I'm enraged, and I'm repulsed by it. And although my writing about it will not help the victim, nor punish the perpetrator, I feel that I have a conscience, and I'm not desensitized to things. Sometimes I write because I do not feel enough. I'm distant, disconnected, and detached from things around me. Very recently, my roommate gave me an intervention. I reached my flat around 7-ish in the evening, and he comes in, his belly preceding his face by a mile, and says that, "Shashank, we need to talk. And I hope you are not going to take what I'm about to say negatively." I said, "Okay, go ahead." And then he digresses. He does not get to a point. He says a lot of things. In fact, hearing him was like watching a YouTube video on dial-up internet. The circular dog just can't stop rotating. Finally, he gets to the point, sandwiched by a lot of digressions, and says that I've been shutting myself up to them, and I need to open up a bit more, and I need to do my domestic duties. Clean, cook, and communicate. These 3 points. And when I write about that, I realize that for the past 2 weeks, all I've been doing in my flat is just leaving and entering, exiting, leaving and entering it, and he has been doing all the chores by himself. Another reason I write is because it brings back memories. You know, writing is like cleaning your cupboard after months and finding clothes you had forgotten about. Recently, a friend of mine asked me to write as a 9-year-old. Not about a 9-year-old, but as one. I probably sucked at it, but when I wrote as a 9-year-old, I remembered a lot of things about my childhood that I had completely forgotten about. Had not thought about for a long, long time. How I used to race against other friends to schools while cycling in the dusty and sun-filled streets of Viratnagar. How I used to play football in lush green fields that never seemed to end. How I used to laugh, leave, and love anything that life could offer except schools. Writing as a 9-year-old brought me closer to my childhood than probably I had thought about myself when I was a 9-year-old. Writing is like scratching your back after a long back itch, you know. It gets you relieved, so relieved. When things are bogging you down, that's how it empowers you to get out of it. I write because I'm not able to understand myself sometimes. You know, writing is like wielding a mirror, a non-biased, non-flattering mirror that does not hide my mole, but does not understate my handsome beard either. When you are confused about yourself, if you write it down, you may not get all the right answers, but it definitely helps you without some wrong ones. Finally, I write because it lets me be, it lets me hide inside my tortoise self. It lets me be naked, stripped down to my rawest form, and still not be disgusted by it. Untouched by the outside world, when I write, I create my own universe and my own laws of physics. Back to you, Toastmasters.